Today, we're diving into the swing of the legendary Ernie Els, famously known as the Big Easy for his smooth, effortless, and relaxed demeanor on the course. We're going to compare his iconic swing from 2000 to 2024 to see how age and time have shaped the game of a former world number one. Your swing evolution never stops. Every decade, it will naturally appear different due to the aging process. That's why it's so important to protect your longevity in the game by avoiding compromising positions and not chasing the next secret move. So let's learn from one of the greats and see how we can adapt for the long haul. And this is the swing evaluation of the Zuid-Afrikaanse Nagmire, Ernie Els. I assume everybody knows who Ernie Els is, but for those that don't, let me just give you a brief summary of his career. Ernie has secured 79 wins worldwide, including 19 on the PGA Tour, 28 European Tour titles, ranking him 7th on the all-time tour winning list. His major championships, he has 4 majors, 2 US Opens, 94 at Oakmont, 97 at Congressional, and 2 British Opens, 2002 at Muirfield and 2012 at Royal Lytham in St. Anne's, which is a pain of a golf course. Ernie Els holds a record 7 World Match Play Championship titles, highlighting his exceptional match play prowess. That's a big word. And he currently holds the longest consecutive streak to be in the world top 10 at 758 weeks straight. That's almost 15 years. And who comes second? Tiger Woods. Tiger stays at 736 consecutive, although he has been in the top 10 for 906 weeks total. Needless to say, if Tiger Woods was not around, Ernie Els would have probably won at least a dozen majors. That's how close these two were, and that's how many times Ernie lost to Tiger in the major championships. It is heartbreaking, especially for the countrymen. But why are we here? We're not here for a history lesson. We're here to learn about what age can do to everybody's golf swing, even a world number one like Ernie, and especially for average Joe. Let's go take a look. We're all going to get older at some point, so what does this mean for our golf swing? Well, there's a couple of areas you need to look for. Spine and thoracic mobility, your hips, your shoulders, your wrists, pelvic and core strength, and your balance and stability. All these start to go south, unfortunately, the older we get. So today we're going to be looking at evidence of this. Now keep in mind, he is a former number one golfer in the world. He is still an elite athlete, so he will be doing a lot more to prevent this than you or I, specifically stretching, flexibility training, strength training, yoga, Pilates, use of proper equipment, and obviously professional coaching, which I still highly recommend, but that's on another video. But let's just take a look at this face on, and we can see the left side is the newer swing, the right side is the older swing. And what fascinates me, and what will always fascinate me about these best in the world, is their tempo. Here we have some 25 years of difference, and it's the same swing. We see the same rhythm, we see the same sequencing. Now obviously we see some parts not quite as mobile as the other, but look at the left side, specifically at impact. Watch that left foot, how the left foot pulls back now. This has to do with, you guessed it, balance, stability, pelvic core strength, wrist, shoulders, hips, spine, thoracic mobility, etc., etc. So please take care of yourself. Look at your golf swing, but let's break this one down, and then we're going to go to the down the line to take a look at the other side. So we've got these lines, and look at the difference in the setup. It's very hard to tell the difference, quite honestly, and this is 25 years apart from each other, so please make sure your setup is always the same so you can develop around the same swing. Now we take a look at our Barney Purple, and that is the shaft line running right through the center of the chest, or pretty close to the center of the chest. We can see it's fairly close to his spine angle, and I know the one on the left side is not quite face on, so we're going to keep that in mind too, but the setup, man, it is pretty close to the same setup, and you'll notice that his first part of the takeaway is about the same as well. We don't see much evidence of range of motion loss. We still see that Ernie was very, very good at this, and he will probably be one of the best ones to do this, is this nice wide takeaway where that left arm is so straight because he is engaging a lot of turn. He has always been extremely flexible, and funny little thing, he was a high quality tennis player before he was a golfer, so he is just a gifted athlete. And what you'll see is as he takes this to the top, he is still able to maintain that beautiful straight left arm, and this is not easy to do. The only way you can really do this is by engaging a lot of turn. So let's get our red line to show you how much turn, even in his 50s, he is still enacting a lot of turn. Now you notice that the club is a little bit further back on his newer swing, so maybe there is some hip issues because we can see a little bit of the breakdown on the lower body with that knee caving in a little bit more than the older swing. But other than that, I mean, this is just close enough for DMV work. So we're going to keep that in mind. We're going to draw just to show you where the club shaft is versus where it was. Even though it doesn't look like much, if you draw this one down here, you can see it's still a little bit of that angle that he now has to deal with on his new motion. And how will he deal with it? We'll just take a look. Does he conserve it longer? Does he throw a little bit more at impact? But it all depends on his body. So this might have come because of the body mobility has decreased over time. Say it ain't so. Yes, it is. We all decrease over time, unfortunately. Let's clean up these lines. Let's leave the spine angle line alone. And what we're going to do is take a look at this first initial drive. Let's do this. Let's put a red line straight from his foot straight up to the sky. And I don't have my, you know what, forget this. We're going to go, we pay how much? $9.99. We're going to use a straight line. You know what? I'm just so tired of wasting $10 and not taking advantage of it. So we still see that power V. Now, for those that don't know what the power V is, it's basically the separation between your lead leg and where the impact line is. So that is the traditional power V, where the upper body moves over the right side and moves back to the left side of the impact. So do we get that initial drive left to that impact line? Let's take a look as we get the first bump. Look, bam! We see that both legs have reached that impact line. What do we notice? We see the one on the left. He seems to be losing a little posture. Did I imagine that? No, I did not imagine that. So we can already start to see some issues with mobility. So let's draw that line again from the top. You know, we're already done red. Let's just do green. And we're going to draw the green line at the top, and we'll see, does he able to stay in his posture on both of these? There goes, and look at the one, the old one. The old one stays in that posture a little bit better, especially in the transition point. So that's our first sign of aging. We start to stand up, and we definitely stand up a lot more than we used to. So he was very good at staying down and delivering the power into the ground while he's transferring left. Now he's standing up, and we see that left foot. Watch his left foot down over here. Watch this left foot spin. Now you notice why it's spinning. Obviously the old one spun too, but not as much. It actually moves off of its footing. Why is that? Is that the impact of age, hip mobility, which tends to decline due to joint stiffness, arthritis, or tightness in the surrounding muscles? It could be, or it could also be the spine and thoracic mobility. He's not as strong in the core. He's not able to hold that posture enough. But either way, even though he was one of the best golfers, and still probably is up, I would still take him and put him in the top 300 golfers in the world right now. And we can see that even him, you cannot get away from age, and we see much higher finish to get it done. And we can look at the higher finish. Let's delete these lines and let's just do it. Ernie, you get the official Barney Purple, and look at the shoulder tilting on the way through. On his older swing, it is still more down through the golf ball. The one in the newer swing, he had to stand up a little bit more, lose his shoulder tilting a little bit more to open up his left side. Kind of like Tiger's doing now too. If you look at Tiger's swing, he definitely opens up his left side more. We will see a much higher swing with things standing up more to alleviate the pain. Because remember, if you're standing up higher, how is your back? Your back is more up. If you start having this right shoulder down, it is still in its posture a little bit, and guess where that puts pressure on? Lower back. When you get in your 50s, specifically playing golf at a high level for 30, 35 years like Ernie has, you got to do everything you can to prolong it. So let's just go from the down the line, because we're going to take a look at the plane work. We're going to take a look at that posture loss to see if it's still there, or if this was just the Mauna Kea golf course making him stand up to look at that beautiful view. So again, we're going to watch this over and over again. New ones on the right, old ones on the left. Look at that. Same fluid motion. They didn't call him the Big Easy for nothing. Even though he's 55 now, he is still the Big Old Easy. Maybe that's his new nickname, Old Easy. If he hears that, that wasn't up to me. That was a subscriber mentioned that, so blame that subscriber. Okay, so now we've got all the lines. We got our Pattinson Barney Purple for the plain lines. We got that yellow line showing his spine angle. We got the green little half box to show the raise of the head. And we got that little blue line in the back to show the back brace line to see any posture losses. Now, I know you're probably saying that's a bunch of lines, but it helps us see cause and effect. What can we see that's a little bit different? Not much. They look about the same. So 25 5 years later, we still have the same. Now, here's the big question. Is his spine angle the same angle? That's the big thing. So let's take a look here. Let's do a quick scientific build now the science guy test. And that is, let's call that 97. This isn't exact, but you know what? It's going to give us an idea close enough. So we have 95. Yeah, we're going to call it about even because lines aren't going to be perfect. So it's, man, look at that. Identical. Now let's take a look at that first move back, because this is where things could be a little bit different. And you have to forgive that these aren't quite synced up together, because when I crop this, I'm not a IT guy. I'm a golf pro that's trying to figure this out. So you'll see the one on the left side gets back there sooner. But let's take a look at this. We're going to do a little circle in red. We see this is beautifully captured in that small circle. Let's take a look at where the club face alignment is in relation to his spine. And we can see that this one is slightly open to his spine. Okay, so now let's look at the other side. We see that, oh man, look at that blurriness. And because this camera angle is a little bit closer, we will definitely see that circle be bigger. But you can see there are the hands in that lower plane line. The club is just below that lower plane line. So we're going to call it the same because of that camera angle. And the club face, hey, I think this is filmed with some sort of potato, so we'll just have to kind of guess. I'm going to guess it's probably the same thing, knowing this is Ernie Els. So let's back up to the very top of the swing, and let's see, do we reach that secondary plane line the same? It's a slightly bit different. We see the one on the left side, the club doesn't go as far back as the one on the right side. Look, you can see it peeking through right over here, where the one on the left side, the older one, doesn't quite get that far back. So he might have been a little bit more connected. And the great thing about Ernie's old swing, this was one of the best swings out there. And we'll do this again. Let's go to this little circle right here. Okay, so this is a great way to check how consistent his swing was. Look how tight that circle is on the left side. We get to that same circle. The club head is still in that circle, even on the way down. He's not getting flat like today's coaches want to teach you. He's right where he needs to be. As that club gets through, it goes right in between these two. But look at where his hands are. Look where that club face is. The club, they meet again right in that area. So this is why he was able to be top 10 for 15 years and be a very, very good golfer, probably one of the greatest of all times. And as he strikes the golf ball, even on the way through, that club head will still go through his hands. This is where the club head is now, and this is where it winds up. So it goes right through the hands. So you talk about connection. This is about as connected as one can get. But let's take a look at the new one on the right side. Do we get as connected? So we appear to be a little bit steeper. So here's difference number one. Look at the old one. Bam, it's perfectly parallel, working its way down to that lower plane line, still pointing kind of close to the golf ball. And this position, we see it steeper and it's pointing inside the golf ball. And why is that? Well, here's a little thing for you. When you start losing your posture, your hands will want to move up. As you start standing into the golf ball, your hands move up. And if we can see that, if we draw a green big line on our new spine angle, we start to stand up. Old spine angle doesn't stand up as much, so we're starting to move into the golf ball. Now when you move in, hands go up. When hands go up, you now have to fight that. So some people get their club laid off as a result, and he might have had to learn to fight that by getting that club higher to compensate this, because he is a very good golfer and he's going to find a way to fight that motion with his body to secure that club on that plane. So there's just way too many lines. Let's clear these up and let's just watch how that ball gets down, how that club gets down there. So it doesn't quite get as crisp on plane as his older swing, and we do see a lot more posture loss, specifically in this frame here. Look at the new one on the right side. We do see a lot of head motion moving back this way versus the old one. It's still staying pretty put down this way. So this is the one difference I can see, and we might see a little bit more release sooner on. And we do, as a result, when you're standing up, your hands will exit a little bit higher, and we do see that exit pass. So let's clear these lines up and put, and remember, these aren't exactly the same level, so we're going to keep that in mind too. But you can see that the one on the right side is a little higher exit path, and as we come on through, you can definitely see it there. There's a much higher exit path. Look how high the hands are. They're favoring his hair, where here it comes a little bit lower and it's matching that plane. So we do see a little bit of difference, most notably this. We're starting to stand up to protect our back, and when we stand up and open up our left side, our left foot starts to flare out, and we do flare everything out as a result. Now, this doesn't take away from his ability to hit golf balls. This man man is still a giant in golf, and I guarantee you, if he goes and plays a tour event, I would love for him to go out and play the PGA Tour event for about 3 or 4 weeks straight, if they would allow him somehow. And you will probably see he will make the cut at least in 1 or 2 of those, and maybe possibly get in top 10. That's how good he still is. So just because you're old doesn't mean you're done. You can still teach an old dog new trick. Is that how that saying works? I think so. But go ahead, hit that like, share, subscribe if this makes sense to you. If this sounds like you and you want to protect your back, you gotta go work with a PGA Pro, or else you're just gonna be shooting blanks in a barrel. I don't know, that's probably a horrible saying too, but I hope you get my drift. I'll see you guys next time. Hit that like, share, subscribe one more time. Other than that, fairways and greens.